What's going on, everybody? Welcome into another edition of the Final Whistle Sports Podcast. It's your host, Joe Ciccoletti and Blaine Spencer. We took last week off because, it's what we do apparently. We just take a week off every like 2 or 3 episodes. So we're back. But had some fascinating football games. We had one not so competitive and three very competitive. But Joe, how are we doing? No guests today, guys.
No guests today. We're doing well. No slander against the Washington Commanders here.
Yo,
No
I
slander.
Oh my gosh, bro. I did a count. It was like 15.
But
Shout
now,
out
Blaine,
Marcus.
yeah. Doing well, doing well. Glad to be back talking a little NFL. We're almost done. We only got 2 more weeks left. It's sad to say. Uh,
Sadness.
um, but yeah, 2 more weeks of football. Solid football played over this past weekend. Not as exciting as the wild card round, but was exciting football to say the least. So, how we doing, big guy?
I'm doing well. Just whoa. Something just
Whoa.
played. I don't know what just played into my headphones, but something just absolutely just played into my headphones at the most random time.
Whoa. All right, keep it PG now.
Hey, I said whoa. That's all I said. I just had no idea what just played into my freaking headset. But yeah, let's I'm doing well, got just hanging out tonight. Played a little hoops today. Gonna play some more hoops later. Just hoops, hoops, and hoops.
Up and away. It's the elevator man. They love it. Dickie B, shout out him. Hope he's doing well.
Hope he's
Haven't heard
doing
much from him.
well,
I
but
hope
I
I
can
hope
tell
he's
you
doing
right
well.
now, I am no elevator man. It's down, down and away. He's staying on the ground.
From downtown.
Yo, the
There
vert
you go.
vert's not looking good.
Minimal. Bro, like Zebo, right? Like getting 3 inches off the ground, but man could rebound. I'll tell you
Yo,
that.
absolutely cooked this kid with a nice little pump fake from the 3-point line, though, and then a little two dribble midi. And
Kept
my
him
buddy was
honest.
talking
Kept him
so
honest.
much trash. He was like, "You're gonna airball this," and I absolutely watered it. Turned around, pointed right at him. I say, "That's why you're
Uh,
on the bench," and kept running.
yeah. Didn't make another shot after that, folks. Didn't make another shot after that.
Nope, nope, did not. Also, didn't take another shot after that, though. To be fair.
Yeah. Well, speaking about since we're talking ball, I got to bring him up. Joel Embiid, 70 point last night. Impressive stuff. I was like, first off, I really want to tune into the game, and I almost considered going to the game. I was looking at tickets all night.
Really?
Yeah, I was looking at tickets, and the reason actually why I wanted to go was to see Victor Wembanyama since he was coming to town. He's only
Mm,
coming once this year, so I was like, maybe I'll go to the game because Victor's I hate he's a specimen. He's 7'6", right? Like he's an impeccable player. Got ball handles at the wazoo, can shoot the rock, got all these moves, right? So I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna sit down, watch the game. Like I truthfully enough, just haven't had time to actually sit down and watch a lot of these Sixers games as of more recently. But I'm like, I made it a point. I'm like, I'm sitting down, we're watching this game. I'm gonna watch it from start to finish. Go there and it's kind of shocking to me, and I'm assuming you had the same feeling with Steph Curry at one point where Joel goes out and just he drops 30, you kind of just expect it, and if he doesn't drop 30, you're just like, whoa, bad night for Joel. Oh, but he had 28 tonight. Like what? Like the man is on a unbelievable streak that only Will Chamberlain and James Harden has done, scoring 30 points in consecutive games. I believe he's at 22 or 23 now. Last night, dropped 70 against the Spurs, right?
mm,
And it's just like you're watching him play, and it's just like he cannot miss. His mid-range game is unbelievable right now. Like he is almost able to make anything around that free throw line. Now he starts making them. So now the defender has to come out and cover that. So he's like, all right, now I'm going inside on you. And starts posting them up inside, dribble drive. He dunks at it, makes a couple threes here and there. It was just like magical to watch yesterday. I mean, it's not just what he has done just yesterday. He's done this in every game that he has played so far. So just want to give a quick shout out to him. But Victor Wembanyama had a game. I think he scored the most points of his career. Actually, last night I think he scored somewhere in the 30s. I think they won. Sixers ended up winning by 15, but
yeah.
like they won the game. Joel Embiid had 70. It was an incredible performance. 70, 18, and 5, I think it was the stat line. You know,
Set the
it was
franchise
unbelievable.
record, broke Wilt's record last night too.
Yeah, broke the record. And so they was actually talking on the radio today. And I kind of got thinking about this question. The question was this. First question, and then it'll be a follow-up if the answer is yes.
Okay.
Is Joel Embiid the best 76er if he wins a championship? I would say yes.
I would say yes.
If he wins,
it's close, but I would say
if he
yes.
wins, if he wins a chip, if he doesn't win a championship, is he the best player to ever put on the 76ers uniform?
I think he's the best talent that they've, not the best player.
I mean, look, Dr. J,
it's
Moses,
very arguable.
AI, but like AI never won it. You know, Moses and Jay did. But I was like, I mean, AI was always there, right? And like that was the era we grew up with a little bit more. We didn't grow up during Jay and Moses, but I mean, what Joel's doing, especially over the last 2-3 years, is just like unprecedented. Like he's the best player at times in the NBA. Like I know Giannis is there, and Jokic and LeBron even at sometimes, you know, and Booker too. You know, they all Luca, like all them guys come in, but Joel's like just consistently day in and day out, and especially over this run that he's on right now, it's just unprecedented. So just wanted to give a quick shout out.
Oh
to
yeah,
Joel
no,
Embiid.
plays, dude's elite. The problem with him is that can he stay on the court enough for you guys? That's the only issue. It's just his health, right?
Yeah, that and getting over the second round hump here. So,
well, to be fair, Cat also had 62 last night, and they still lost the Charlotte frickin' Hornets. So
at home,
at home.
I don't want to hear it. That's a bum. You know where he went to school at? Kentucky. Place stinks. Oh man. All right, Blake, let's get to some NFL talk. First game of the weekend. The Texans take on the Ravens at home in a cold Baltimore next to the harbor. You go into the game, Texans just beat out Joe Flacco and the Cleveland Browns. They look dominated. Offensively was slinging the rock. Defensively was able to stop Joe Flacco and get pressure and get sacks on him. A lot of people were looking, could this be Stroud? You know, could he come out of nowhere and beat Lamar Jackson, perennial MVP candidate right now, right? And beat this number one defense. Go in, and first half was tight, 10-10. Looked like it was going to be a battle. Could come down to the last second, you know, in the second half, in the fourth quarter. But Lamar Jackson went in at halftime, ripped them guys a new asshole. Hate to say it, but that's what they did. And went in there, second half, made a statement, scored 21 unanswered points on the Houston Texans, and showed why they are the number one seed in the AFC. Blaine, Lamar Jackson take over. Unbelievable stuff. What did you think of the game?
I think for me, like the game was tight, right at 10-10, but I never really felt like Houston really had a chance. Really, it never felt like Houston truly had a shot, even with them being tied. You just kept waiting and waiting for Baltimore to kick into that extra gear, right? Because the defense was elite, right? The 10-10, the only reason it was tied is because Houston ran a punt return back. John Harbaugh was not thrilled as a special teams coach for that. But then like Lamar on that first drive, making smart decisions, used his legs a lot more. And you could see the man is a reluctant runner until now it gets to the postseason. That's what it kind of has turned into, right?
Yes.
He is now making sure that he's healthy to get to this moment where he can use his legs and be just that much more of a weapon for the Baltimore Ravens, right? 11 carries, 100 yards, 2 tutties. Then he went 16-22, a buck 52, 2 tutties. Like 252 total yards, 4 touchdowns, right? It's not like the touchdowns are eye-popping, right? But like if you're only looking at the yard statistic, you're like, oh, that's just an average Lamar day. But he was absolutely kind of just picking and choosing, tearing them apart, knew exactly when the run game needed to be. called in to finally kind of wrap up that game in that fourth quarter. But I mean, the man's is the best athlete the NFL's seen since Michael Vick. Like, it's not even close. And you could probably make that argument that, like, if he was in Michael Vick's era, he probably would have been putting up crazier numbers than Mike would be. Like, he made it look like he was a couple of those plays where he actually, when he made those jukes on that naked boot on 4th and 1, he made it look like it was like Pee Wee football. Like, skirt and see you, night night. Like, the man's incredible. And from a Houston perspective, I think they're playing for house money, right? They've already had a successful year. There's no moral victories, right? But you got to take this year as a huge success for the Texans, regardless. And they ran into arguably the best team in football.
Agreed. Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head. Lamar was able to determine when he needed to run. And D'Amico Ryans came in with a hell of a game plan to try to contain him into the pocket, right? Instead of having his, defensive ends crash the pocket, it was more, all right, hey, we're just going to contain him in this pocket and eventually collapse that pocket and suffocate it. But Lamar, realized that, I think, after the first half, that he was like, you know what? I'm just going to start running right up the gut. And that's what happened a lot of times. That's how he scored one of his touchdowns, was running right up the gut and had Gus Bus leading the way straight ahead. And I think they realized that, they figured that, and that's where Lamar was being smart in terms of this running game, with over 100 yards on the ground, which was impressive stuff. But, on the flip side, I think Baltimore Ravens defense really showed out, especially in that second half, bringing pressure on Stroud. And that was going to be Houston Texans' kryptonite, right? Is that offensive line. That offensive line was going to be a killer for them. I mean, Laramie Tunsil was one of the best left tackles out there, right? But the rest of the line is iffy, to say the least. And that's where they struggled at. I mean, thankfully enough, they got hopefully a dog in CJ Stroud, it looks like. But we knew the offensive line was the kryptonite, and it was going to backfire on them potentially, and it did, and it showed. Stroud was pressured all game long, especially in that second half, and it really affected him throwing the ball downfield, which is what he did so successful versus the Browns. And they just weren't able to move the ball. But, I think as you hear the dog in the back, because he's a dog. But no, on the flip side, you got to think about this with Stroud, though, is he's probably going to get a new offense coordinator because Slavic is probably going to get hired somewhere, I've heard. So that's going to be a new regime for him. Now. Yeah, and like what's going to happen now with Stroud and his development? Like he has developed Stroud so well now. And what's going to go on moving forward and whatnot. So is it going to be like a Brian Daboll and Josh Allen situation? So I don't know. So let me get the dog out of here. Go ahead. Right. You talk. You got it.
All right. So I'm going to start moving on to the next game while Joe gets the little pupper out of here. Next game was Green Bay against San Francisco. Turned into a game-winning drive for the San Francisco 49ers as they scored a late touchdown, 10 points in the fourth quarter to pull out with a 24-21 victory over the Jordan Love Green Bay Packers. And I think my takeaway from this one is not that the Niners won it. It felt like the Packers kind of lost it in that fourth quarter. Remember, the Niners hadn't, under Kyle Shanahan, over when they're down 7 points going into the fourth quarter, had never won a game. This team is a front-running team. You saw Debo get injured in the first quarter. It seems like in the x-rays, everything signs point that he might be able to give it a go in the conference championship. But you got to give Brock Purdy his flowers. He was pretty bad those first 3.5 quarters. But when it mattered on that final drive, the man made every throw he needed to make to help win that game on that fourth and final drive. Joe, your thoughts on that one in a rain fest in San Francisco?
Once again, big X factors on both sides of the ball was Debo Samuel leaving, which I've said from the start. I truthfully think Debo Samuel is the conductor, the lead on this offensive. That's what
Mm-hmm.
makes the offense run. Everyone thinks it's CMC, CMC. Yeah, CMC is the best running back in the league. But when Deebo Samuel is out, that offense is completely different. I've said that all year this year now so far, and you kind of seen it happen when Deebo left after the first quarter.
Right.
Other side, Green Bay. Aaron Jones is still playing hell of ball. It's unbelievable. Had over 100
Mm-hmm.
yards once again, is able to show that he's able to run and catch the ball out of the backfield, even though he is starting to age more and more. And fortunately enough, he just keeps getting injured and is not on the field. But when he is on the field, Green Bay is a different animal, different team. Jordan Love is a different animal, different team when Aaron Jones is on the field. Granted, you did see the mistake with the INT late by Jordan Love throwing that ball cross-bodied. That's just not a rookie mistake, but that's just like an inexperienced quarterback mistake that you just can't do. And I understand he was trying to force the ball downfield a little bit. I get that,
Sure.
but just something you can't have and happen as well. But it was a game that we kind of expected. It was probably going to be a close one, a battle to say the least. And you had a feeling Sanford was maybe going to come stumbling out the gate a little bit. And kind of same thing what the Ravens did, right? They were off now for a week, maybe even 2 weeks now at this point, especially
Right.
San Fran. I know they took off the last week, so it's 2 weeks off now.
For sure.
So they're going to come out the gate maybe not the best. They're going to come out a little rusty, but in the second half they're going to be able to turn it on, and that's what they just here. And like you said, they are a front runner team, but when the lights go off, no, I'm kidding. Uh, they are a front runner team, but when the lights shine bright in the third and fourth quarter, they were able to pull through and beat the Green Bay Packers, which they should have, and they did. So they're on the next week.
Yeah, and I think if you look at it from a Green Bay perspective, right, I think you answered all the questions that you had coming in got answered, right? You think you've now found your quarterback, how Jordan Love really turned it on the second half of the year, right? He made two bad throws in that game that turned into two INTs. I think that turned into I think it was all 10 points, if I remember, in that fourth quarter. I might be wrong on that, but I know he made the last one on the last drive, and he had that tip pass they threw behind, also led to a pick. I think that one led to points. But the kid showcased that you're gonna have hopefully your quarterback again for the next decade, right? Just Green Bay's system, however they like to do it. You draft your quarterback when you think you found them. You let them sit for 3 to 4 years, and you say, "All right, bud, you've learned long enough. Go figure it out." And like you said, though, Aaron Jones creates the mayhem for this team on the offense side of the ball. The play action game. You have all these young dogs at wide receiver, right? With Dobbs, Watson. It was a different guy each week. I think they
Give
said
some
something
flowers to
crazy.
Jaden Reed there. Give some
Yeah,
flowers to
Jaden,
Jaden Reed. That
shout out
man
Jaden
balling.
Reed, Luke Musgrave as well.
Yeah.
I think they had a different leading receiver every month. And that was like a crazy stat. Not a single receiver on their team was the leading receiver twice. So that just shows you how they know how to feed the ball and feed the ball around, spread the ball around with these young, solid wide receivers. And then again, from the Niners' perspective, they found a way. This Deebo Samuel injury is going to really dictate who they're going to be playing, and will kind of lead to that, which is the Detroit Lions. And they came away with a solid 31-23 victory at home. The Ford Field Dome was electric. 100% the best scene of the weekend without even a question. All I can remember and picture in my head right now is Aiden Hutchinson after the game, with him just taking in that moment, right? Being a local kid, being a Detroit Lions fan since he's grown up, right? Knowing how bad this franchise has been, and now they're 2 wins from being on the top of the world in the National Football League, which is crazy to think about. Jared Goff, another solid game, 30 of 43, 287, 2 tutties. Gibbs had 75 yards and a tutty. Just an all-around great performance. Defensively, we knew that was their issue. And as much as I have hated on Baker Mayfield, and I will probably continue to hate on Baker Mayfield, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have found their quarterback for next year, which is going to be Baker Mayfield. So I will give him his flowers He did make the bad throw on that final possession, but still, the man played. He also played extremely well against them. And Mike Evans, absolutely a dog. 8 for 147, certified bucket. You might as well just lock him in, like how you said. You've been giving Mike Evans his flowers all year. Joe, takeaway on the Bucks Lions.
Like I say, death taxes and Mike Evans getting 1,000 yards a year. It's certified. It's a lock. Um, Very good game. Like you said, Ford Field was absolutely electric once again. I don't know if it was as loud as the wild card round, but it was loud to say the least for sure. Um, and I've been saying it kind of all year, right? Is Tampa Bay is not able to run the ball. They're not able to run the ball,
Okay,
and
they
they were
couldn't
not
again.
able to run the ball once again versus those Lions, and I knew that was going to backfire on them. The Lions have one of the best rush defense in the league and going up against probably one of the worst rushing offenses in the league. And it showed with Rashard White only getting 55 yards on the ground.
I mean, it's,
Um,
to be fair, Joe. I mean, he was averaging 6 yards a carry. I think they just gave up on the run game a little
that's
bit too.
yeah, exactly. They were just like, yeah, we're gonna give no shot. We just have no shot, right? We're just gonna pass as much as we can. Yeah, we'll just do that. But yeah, Baker, we knew Baker was gonna have some good yards on this game, taking advantage of them cornerbacks in the secondary of the Detroit Lions, who has been struggling all year. And it showed with Mike Evans getting over 140 yards in the receiving end as well, making a beautiful 40, 50-yard catch. Didn't score, got down at the one, but a beautiful 40, 50-yard catch to get them in the end zone or near the red zone, to say the least. So, yeah, no, it was a very, very hard fought game until about the end when Jahmyr Gibbs kind of took over. Amon St. Brown made a couple nice catches as well. And Sam Laporta just being Sam Laporta, the awesome Iowa tight end, to say the least.
Yeah.
The great rookie performance that he's done all year. But yeah, Jahmyr Gibbs kind of shut it down, especially with them. I think it was in the midway through the third quarter or in the fourth quarter at that point. Had a nice couple 20, 25-yard runs to put them in a good territory and end up scoring and then propelling the Lions to victory at that point. Blaine, did you see the odd thing that Todd Bowles didn't do at the end of the game? I don't know if you've seen it.
Yeah, why didn't he call timeout to make them kick the field goal?
Yeah,
It
I don't
almost felt like
know.
he threw in the towel like so early.
Maybe it was like out of respect kind of thing. Like I don't know. Like to me, like you're playing to win the game either way. But like to me, it
I
was
would
like
have called timeout. You
yeah,
make him
like,
kick it. You have a even though it's a 1% chance, right, of you getting the ball and getting like 1% for him to miss the field goal first. Then you got to get a crazy touchdown and then get the 2 point conversion, right?
correct.
But it's still a hypothetical in there. I never heard from him comment on it? Did you?
No comment. I haven't heard anything about it. But yeah, it was kind of odd. But it was also odd that the Lions like knelt the ball that early, right? Like, were
Yeah,
they not aware that they had a timeout? Like what went on with all that,
it
right?
almost felt like both teams thought that they were out of timeouts.
Yeah, yeah. Um, but yeah, we'll get back. You know, the Lions are moving forward, so we'll get into the more conference championship preview with San Fran in a little bit. But the Bucks, I know you said they might have found, their future quarterback in Baker Mayfield. I agree to an extent,
I think
but
you got to give him, he at least has earned next year. I think that's completely fine.
100%, I agree, and they're gonna probably pay him more than what Daniel Jones got paid.
What do you think? What do you think he gets? What is
Oh,
his
45,
offer?
45 mil. Daniel Jones got 40 mil. Blaine, come on now.
I know, because we talked about this last year, and we all were both like, "What the fuck, Daniel Jones?"
45 mil. The only problem is
Two
the
years, two
Bucks.
year deal.
Yeah, probably four, but it'll be opt out after two. The Bucks have a lot of free agents this offseason. A
They
lot.
are. They
Mike
do.
Evans is one of them. Like, I don't know if
Pay
Mike
him
Evans
whatever
comes back,
number he wants.
but I don't know if he wants to come back, Blaine. And they're not going to franchise tag him. I don't think that's going to happen at all because franchise tags are really going to put him high.
Right.
Um, I don't know if he's worth that high, but I don't think I don't think he comes back. I think pretty sure Levante David's a free agent. A lot of their
A lot of
secondary is a
people
free
saying
agent.
that he's gonna walk. They're letting him walk because of
Yeah,
because of the rookie.
yeah, the new guy. Yep. A lot of their secondary is free agents too, as well next year. So they're going to take a little bit of a beating next year. And not a bold prediction, but I don't think the Bucks going to make it back to the playoffs next year, in my opinion.
Is that just because more of them losing so many pieces, or is that because of the NFC South?
Both. I think they're going to lose too many pieces, but I think there's going to be potentially another team that comes in and gets in front of them.
Okay. Would you put New Orleans ahead of them right now, or would you put both Atlanta ahead of you? Your Atlanta Falcons ahead.
Atlanta Falcons will be ahead of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers next year, and Atlanta Falcons will win the NFC South in 2024-2025 season.
Why do I even ask the question?
Next question.
Yeah, you guys getting Bill?
Bill, Harbaugh, it don't matter. I don't care. We're bringing in a quarterback. Kirk Cousins. If Kirk Cousins was the quarterback of the Atlanta Falcons this season, they would have won the NFC South easily.
Probably. That's how mediocre. That's how bad your quarterback play was.
Exactly. We lost 2 to 3 games because of Desmond Ritter. We lost.
Yo,
two
you
to
have
three
Joe.
games.
You have Joey Flacco. You guys win the division.
Potentially. I don't know about
I'm
that, but
on.
yeah,
I'm saying you have Joey Flacco. You win the division.
potentially. So, but yeah, I just think the Bucks had a hell of a run. Good for them. I was
This is
rooting
kind
for
of
them.
the end of their Super Bowl team too this
I
year. I
got a
think.
feeling like Baker might just prolong it a little bit, and I think they're kind of just getting a little bit starry-eyed right now with him. But
Sure.
like, I hate to say it, like, is it just Baker just showing that flash of potentially what was at Oklahoma? Or like, are you going to get the Baker Mayfield of what you got with the Browns and Carolina Panthers and
Right.
and the Rams? Like, what are you going to get, right? If it wasn't, let's be honest, if it wasn't for the rest of the NFC South sucking, they would have never made the playoffs. I mean, I guess you could say that with any team, right? But like, they probably in any other division they aren't making the playoffs.
Well, you almost had to think of, right, if you're looking at it from your perspective, like that New Orleans and Carolina last 2 games, if they lose to Carolina because he didn't play well, right? You
No.
lose there
Yep.
and he might not even get the job, right?
Yep.
Then you sneak in, you get a Philadelphia team that everyone picks apart, right?
Yep.
So you play well in that game, you win a game. So at that point he kind of earns the job because you exceeded Tampa Bay's expectations based off of how they played. And then you losing a one possession game to Detroit. I mean, but it's also a Detroit team that is extremely bad in the secondary, right? Cam Sutton didn't even look like he was on the same field a couple of those plays.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know if I see them getting back to this point next year. And I don't see it at all. You got to
I think it's
expect,
a fair assessment.
like,
I'd still take New Orleans. Sorry.
you got to expect like other teams to come up and advance
Mm-hmm.
again, right? Like, you got to expect the Eagles to figure it out and you got to expect them to come back. You gotta expect Dallas to still be there, even though they should have won. But you gotta expect them to still be there. You gotta expect the Lions still to be there. They're playing good ball. The Niners, the Rams, are they still going to be where they are at?
The
Seattle,
Packers, yeah.
The Packers. Could the Vikings potentially be back where they are? If they get a competent quarterback play and Justin Jefferson stays healthy, right? Like,
Sure.
there's a lot of them ifs, and I think a lot of them teams making the right moves would put them past the Tampa Bay Buccaneers next year, in my opinion.
No, I think it's a complete fair assessment. I think the team did get lucky with how weak the bottom of the NFC kind of was.
Yeah, agreed.
All right, let's jump to the last one, which
Yes, sir.
was the rematch of the rematches. As always, it was Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs, this time on the road, traveling to Orchard Park to take on the Buffalo Bills. And same old script, regardless if it was up at Arrowhead or down at Orchard Park, it turned into a Kansas City victory, 27-24. And Kansas City Chiefs looked like the Kansas City Chiefs the last couple weeks. Uh-oh. That's all I gotta say is uh-oh. Kansas City Chiefs look like the Kansas City Chiefs. Patrick Mahomes is inevitable. That's all I have to say. 6 for 6. All right, your take on the game.
So I'm going to rewind a little bit here. And there was a time back in October, November, and the Chiefs were playing the Dolphins in Germany.
Yep.
That was when the Dolphins were extremely hot. Kansas City was iffy at the time, and Mahomes was plus money at the time. And I was talking to my buddy, as we're going to the golf course, we're talking about this game, and he goes, Joe, we may never see Mahomes plus money again. We probably should take this. In the back of my head, I'm like, he's probably right, but I talked myself and him out of it. I go, it's Miami, like they're playing hot. It's Tyreek Hill, blah blah blah.
Well, you were on the Dolphins train. That was when you were on the train.
Correct. And Chiefs end up winning that game.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Comes around again. Where Saturday and Sunday rolls around. My dad, I'm with him on Saturday. What do you think about the games? So I start talking about it. He goes, what do you think about this Chiefs game? I go, Joe. Patrick Mahomes is plus money. At the time, he is 8-1-1 as an underdog against the spread. I go, I am not falling for this mistake again. I am taking Patrick Mahomes, and that is who is going to win this game. He's like, all right, that's fair to say. Lo and behold, Patrick Mahomes beats the Buffalo Bills.
Mm-hmm.
And they looked exactly like the Buffalo Bills. They are Travis Kelce, able to find the end zone twice. Isaiah Pacheco is killing it right now in the running back.
Mm-hmm.
Big X factor for them, to say the least.
100%.
Almost got 100 yards on the ground as well. Rashid Rice has kind of shown that he is now taking over this wide receiver one role for Kansas City finally. Marquez Valdez-Scantling was able to catch the ball finally in this game as well. But, I kind of got to ask you and kind of talk about this too. But CBS was kind of making this game as potentially like the next Brady and Peyton Manning matchup, right? Mahomes and Allen. And I'm sitting there, all right, like if Allen wins this game, then maybe, right? But Allen has now lost this game. I just don't think this is anything like the Manning and Brady rivalry at all. Mahomes has just dominated him. The only times that I think Allen has won is the regular season this past year, I believe.
I think he's beaten him twice in the regular season now.
But none in the playoffs so far.
Nope, he's 0 for in the postseason, correct.
So I don't think it's anything like this. I actually think it's more like a Tom Brady versus Phillip Rivers kind of thing, right?
Right.
Like, I think it's more down that line where, like, you're getting Josh Allen, who's playing incredible ball. Same thing with Phillip Rivers did, has the great stats, but, like, come playoff time, just collapses. I don't know. Like, for me, watching Josh Allen, the game has gone back and forth. I was rooting for Buffalo to win because I really wanted them to kind of get to the AFC Championship game. But, last drive, he made a mistake. He had Stephon Diggs underneath for a simple 5-yard dig route underneath. Probably would have got 15, got the first. Time would have kept clicking. Yep. Tyler Bass would have had a closer field goal if they would have had to go for the field goal. And they probably maybe even could have scored a touchdown and won that game. But instead, he goes for the big shot, which, don't get me wrong, probably was a decent option at the time because he was open. And if he doesn't get the pressure from Chris Jones, then yeah, it might be a touchdown. But you also have a 5-yard dig route. You could have got 15 yards and would have been game. I mean, not game, but probably would have been easier for Tyler Bass to make a field goal. Potentially could have been a touchdown. I know we're only looking at one play here. I get it. But, it's just like the stuff like that, like with Josh Allen and like trying to always make the big play. It's like, I don't know, man. Like, just sometimes you got to check it down every once in a while and like just do what you got to do just to get the first and waste clock there. And it's just no. So let's go for the big shot. Because even if he scores, like there's still over a minute 30 for Patrick Mahomes still like drive down the field. So I don't know. I just don't think it's a Peyton Manning and Tom Brady rivalry like they were hyping it up to be.
All this is that this is the same old Bills. Regardless that they've got a new quarterback, regardless if they have the elite wide receiver like they did in the early 90s, this team just doesn't know how to close out the football game when it really matters. And now that they've lost a third time, and this time in your own building, the mental hurdle of going against the Kansas City Chiefs now almost feels like it's insurmountable because you've lost twice, right? The first two times, the first game, Patrick Mahomes beat them, right? Second time, you can make the argument that both teams, if the overtime rule was changed, that's why it was changed because of what happened in that second matchup, right? They went toe for toe. This matchup, Buffalo got lucky that they even had a chance to tie that football game. Josh Allen, his stats say otherwise. He was 26 of 39 for 186 for a tutty. However, on the very first possession, Snead dropped a pick. Should have been picked off in the end zone, right? And they got the field goal there on the opening drive, right? So that's one mistake he gets away with. Then you have McDuffie also dropped an INT. So he should have at least had two picks, right? And if it wasn't for Dalton Kincaid actually being a player that hustles to get the football, Josh Allen should have been accountable for 3 turnovers. And one of them was on that final drive, right? The fumble where it goes out of bounds and they keep possession or whatever, right? Josh Allen could have easily had 3 turnovers by himself in that game.
I mean, you're exactly right, but also like Bills probably should honestly got blown out by even more because if McCall Hardman doesn't fumble and the ball going out the end
Right.
zone,
And then what
that's
is
another
Sean
7
McDermott
points.
doing running a fake punt on 4th and 5?
I ain't gonna say my real reason why, but
No,
we'll
say
say
it. Say it.
no. We got listeners, so I can't be saying that stuff. So
You keep it PG.
yeah, we'll keep it PG. But yeah, I don't know, man. Like it's just like to me, like you just
It's
said, it's the
too much
same old
hero ball,
Bills.
man. Too much
Yeah, it's the
hero
same
ball.
thing, and Mahomes is able to figure it out. No sacks for him as well. Travis Kelsey was able to figure it out, but I don't know. I think there might be a little bit, maybe too much personality wise in Buffalo right now.
I
I think
think I think Diggs is gone. I think
I
he's
think Diggs
not.
is overrated. Truthfully,
He might be overrated, but I think he will not step on the field for the Buffalo Bills next year, especially after all the issues that they had last offseason.
sure, sure. I don't know. I think he's overrated. Truthfully, and then Gabe Davis is a free agent, so like he might be on his way out.
Them not
Um,
having him hurt, but
Yeah, so that could be a game changer for the Buffalo Bills, and they're gonna have to do a little look in the mirror and see what they need to do moving forward, to say
yeah.
the least.
So would you say this matchup was more good Kansas City or bad Buffalo?
Oh, okay, good Kansas City. I think
Okay.
Kansas City won that game still. Like, Patrick Mahomes was efficient as could be, was able to maneuver his way down the field. Pacheco was able to run just like he's been doing all year now. And then you're able to find Travis Kelsey, who hasn't been anything over the last 6, 7 weeks now at this point. Finally, you're able to find him, get 2 touchdowns. One was wide open. It's if you can get him rolling, like you're going to be working well because they're doubling Kelsey no matter what. That's why
Right.
essentially he hasn't been playing well the last 6, 7 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
And Rashid Rice has finally had to step up. You know what I mean? They're able to find a wide receiver that steps up. But yeah, I think Kansas City was a better team here, and they just won. So
Agreed. Do you think does Sean McDermott stay as the DC?
I think if they get Leslie Frazier back, I could definitely see it happening.
You
I
think
think that
he's
would be beneficial.
I don't know. I think he's got to let go of the defense. I think they were too exposed these last couple weeks.
Maybe.
Like honestly, Pittsburgh should have had no chance to be in that game, and they kept Pittsburgh in the game like 2 weeks ago, right?
True.
But I mean, they
True.
were also Buffalo had every injury on every area of their defense to also be fair,
Yeah.
but I don't
Yeah.
know.
I don't know. One
There's a
of my
lot of busted
buddies of mine,
coverages.
yeah, one of my buddies of mine hit me up like right after the Bills loss. He was like, "Oh, could you see McDermott be on his way out?" I'm like, "No, McDermott's not getting
People are
fired.
talking about
There's,
that. If Bill would you if Bill was willing to go across the AFC East?
I don't think they would fire McDermott. McDermott has had way too much success to be fired at this point. Like he's not. He's like getting in. He's kind of getting into that like Tomlin. And I mean Tomlin's kind of up there, but like he's getting up into that realm now. He's been there for like how long? 6, 8 years now, I think.
And you
With
got to give him
Buffalo.
credit for how he turned this football team around, right? Like
Correct. Like
they
he
were 500, like leaking oil, ready to frickin' throw in the towel.
correct. Like I okay, like I know the kryptonite's been the Chiefs. I understand that, but like you do pretty well in the playoffs, right? Like
Yeah.
it's kind of tough. I don't know. I was like, I don't see him getting fired, man. Like
Okay.
he's got a winning record. I'm pretty sure he's got almost a winning record in the playoffs. Like it's pretty damn near close. Um, it's just a lot. I was like, I just don't think he's gonna get fired. There's no shot. So,
Okay, fair enough. All
but
right, so speaking of, Kansas City will be traveling to Baltimore. So let's start previewing these games a little bit. Kansas City at Baltimore, and it'll be Detroit at San Francisco. All right, Joe, which game are you going to be tuned in more to this weekend out of the two? If you had to pick one of the two, which one would you dial in for out of the two matchups?
uh, that's a good question. I'm pretty dialed into both. That's a really good question because I don't know.
I know
I,
it's a
I
coin flip. That's why I thought it would be a good one.
I guess the Lions and Niners game.
Really? I'd actually go the other way just because of the greatness of the two quarterbacks in the AFC.
Yeah, so like that would be my flip answer. But like this answer is like I don't know. I'm a big Shanahan guy. I like Shanahan just because he came from Atlanta. I like what he did in San Fran, but I'm also like rooting for Detroit because it's Detroit's story, right? Like if they make it to the
100%.
Super Bowl, like it'd be ecstatic, like it'd be incredible stuff. Big fan of Jameer Gibbs. I love him on St. Brown. Like I'm honestly both games. No, excuse me. In the San Fran and the Lions game, I'm rooting for both. It doesn't really matter to me who wins. I
Okay,
know a lot of people are just like, I'd rather want the Lions to win. I'm like, yeah, that's fine. But like, if I see San Fran in, I'm not going to be upset.
sure.
Flip side, I kind of want the Ravens to win. Not that I, not that I'm like rooting against Mahomes, but like it's just like I just kind of want to see somebody else in there. Somebody
Sure.
else representing. Especially like we get Ravens and Lions. Like I think it'd be cool. I think the Ravens blow the Lions out though
And the
in
Ravens
the
already
Super
did
Bowl.
that this year
Exactly. Yeah. Like I think the Ravens blow them out. Like I think if it's Ravens and Niners, I think it's closer.
because you
But
don't
I
think the Niners will get blown out twice.
yeah, I don't think yeah, I think their defense is gonna be ready and locked in. But like I think if it's the Lions versus the Ravens, I think the Ravens can blow them out.
Fair.
So I
So,
truthfully enough, I think the Ravens are like probably the best football team out there out of the last four left.
oh, without question.
Right? Like
I think you basically you hold on to Kansas City because of the guy that's playing quarterback.
correct. And I just said it 10 minutes ago.
He's
You
going to be
fool me
plus odds.
once,
Are you
you
gonna
fool me once, you can't get fooled again, right? He
you take
plus
you
money
you
again.
taking Pat at plus money?
He's plus money again. You kind of got to like, you kind of just got to be like, well, he's plus money. What? He's 9-1-1 against the underdog, which is wild to think about because how long has he been in the league? 6 years, 7 years now. And he's been the
Yeah,
underdog in 10 games, 10 games in his career.
unreal.
Exactly. But yeah, like I said, I'm just excited because it's good football. I'm not really rooting against anybody, and I'm not really like cheering for anybody. I'm just like, yeah, it's good football. I'm ready to
Good
see it.
football.
Like
It's good football.
I'm ready to watch some guys, you know, play why they're there. Superstars to come out and make names again, once again for themselves. You know what I mean?
For
Um,
sure.
Jared Goff being able to do what he can do. Amon St. Brown being able to get 9, 10 catches for 100 yards. Shamir Gibbs to have a great game. George Kittle have a really solid game. As Brock Purdy put the statement for the MVP of why he should be it. Is this defense really legit for San Fran, right? On the flip side, Then you got the other game, right? Kansas City and Lamar, like Lamar's first conference championship game. Finally, he's healthy, able to even make it to this point. Is he able to get over the hurdle, able to take down Mahomes? Is Mahomes able to get back now for it's fourth if it's going to be, or fifth now
Fourth,
it's going to
yeah,
be?
fourth Super
Fourth, it's
Bowl.
fourth. And honestly, to say the least, he wins this one. I think this is the most impressive one so far.
Oh, without question. If they win the Super Bowl this year, he has put himself. You now have the argument against Tom Brady.
Yeah, the rings aren't there, but like this team, I feel like every time he's been to the Super Bowl, he's got a worse and worse team there.
Oh
It's
yeah,
almost
slowly declined for sure.
correct. Like this team that is constructed right now, I think is the worst Kansas City team that we have seen over the last 6 years, or over the last
Yep,
years that Mahomes has been there.
for sure.
But this Ravens defense is legit. It's going to be a beast for him to take, hopefully potentially beat or go up against, and it's going to be a wild matchup to see and one to stay tuned for. I don't know if you've seen. There is um, not a saying. There's a thing going around Twitter that I just seen today that if you lose to Josh Allen in the playoffs, you do not win the next game. I don't know if you've
If you
seen
beat
this.
Josh Allen, you mean?
Oh, I'm sorry. If you beat Josh Allen, you do not win the next game.
Really?
Correct.
I thought Cincinnati did that though, when Burrow
So
did it.
so in 2019, they played the Texans. Texans beat them. They went to Kansas City. They lost to Kansas City.
Okay.
2020, Kansas City beat them in the AFC championship game. They went to the Super
Lost to
Bowl,
Brady in the Super Bowl.
lost to Brady. 2021, they beat Kansas City, beat them in the divisional round. They lost to Cincinnati in the conference championship game.
Oh, that's right.
2022, the Bengals beat the Bills. They
And they
lost
lost to
last
Kansas
year
City. Yeah.
to Kansas City.
I had
So
my years
now,
wrong.
so now this year it's Chiefs, and now they're going up against Baltimore. So we'll see if it continues. And the way that color of that LVII right now, it's purple. So it's gonna be the Ravens probably winning this. I'm just letting people know.
All right. Who is that who you're picking? Who are you picking then? What are your two picks?
Yeah, I'm on Ravens San Fran.
Ravens, San Fran.
Yeah.
I have the Ravens, and you know what? I'm gonna go out on an island, and I'm taking. Actually, no, the Niners were in my Super Bowl picks, and they're still alive. Buffalo screwed that up last week by losing, but Ravens 49ers as well. However, it if you're a better, the spread in this Niner Detroit game, you are pounding the Detroit Lions on the
What is it?
spread.
I haven't even seen what it
It's
is.
like 7.
Yeah, it makes sense.
7 makes sense to you?
I would have said 6. Yeah, I would have said 6.
I thought it would be closer to like 5.5. 5.5.
I
I would take Detroit. I think on the line, I'd take Detroit on the line.
I mean,
I
think
think
about it
seven's
like
a
in the
little high.
terms of the
Or you
betting.
alternate spread it and you do 7.5. Alternate spread it. Probably some decent money there.
The problem is I don't think San Fran gets blown out. I think the Lions can get blown out in this game, though.
Just because of all the emotion they've put in these last 2 weeks.
Well, that now you're going on the road, right?
Across the country.
So exactly. I just think San Fran's defense is going to come out ballistic once again. I just think they're going to be able to pass rush Jared Goff, who Jared Goff hasn't really seen too much of this in the playoffs so far.
You pressure Jared Goff, he'll make mistakes.
Exactly, and I think they're gonna get pressed big time, and I could see it potentially being a blowout in San Fran's way. Do I think it happens? No, but that's why the 7 makes sense.
Okay.
I think that's what makes sense. So
And I think Baltimore, it's 3.5, I think. Pretty
yes,
low.
yeah,
That's
it's
basically just
Mahomes.
saying if you're the home team.
Exactly. I mean, that's exactly what it is. But that's what it was with, Buffalo.
Buffalo, right? Yeah.
That's what it was with Buffalo too. I do think we I think we're supposed to be getting decent weather coming in over here in the Northeast. So the
Mm-hmm.
weather shouldn't be a problem. I think it's supposed to actually be like 50 or 45. So like Baltimore actually won't be cold, won't be snowing. Like it's going to be straight weather.
Be
Everything
some
should be fine and
decent
dandy.
conditions, yeah.
Yeah, everything should be fine and dandy. Should have no worries there. So no effects in terms of the weather. So
No, I think both will be one possession games. I think it'll be very similar to how these last couple of games kind of ended. The quarterback will have the ball with the chance to win it, and they'll probably come up short. I think Mahomes will have the ball with a chance to win the game, and it'll be Baltimore's defense that has to rise up.
I got a question for you because I've been saying this statement for a long time now, especially the last 3 years. Would you rather want Patrick Mahomes with the ball in his hands in 2 minutes for you to score, or would you rather want Lamar Jackson with the ball in his hands with 2 minutes left to score?
Patrick Mahomes.
Okay. I
But I
disagree.
think,
I would take Lamar, but
really, why is that?
I have said for the last 3 years, I think health's been his biggest issue, but I think Lamar Jackson is hands down the best quarterback to have with 2 minutes or less because what you can do passing
And
and
running.
rushing. Like he can easily get you 15 yards on the ground. No problem.
Yeah.
Right? No problem. No questions asked. Like Mahomes isn't going to do that. Mahomes is going to, don't get me wrong, Mahomes is
We'll pick you
surpasses man
apart.
passing, right? Yes. And
Yeah.
it's surpassing, but like, it's just like how quickly the Ravens can move down the field just because now you have his legs is just the game changer for me. And that's what makes him the game changer, in terms of the quarterback position.
Now, I think that's a fair statement. My only pushback would be you really don't see that out of Baltimore. This is a very meticulous offense. You really don't see them really go hurry up. So when it gets to that
Yeah.
position, can you actually do it? Because they're really not they're also very similar to San Francisco. They're a team that loves to get so far out in front that they kind of turn it off in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, no, but I think like we are able to see them dominate games. We're able to
Yeah.
see Lamar dominate games in a way that like we don't see, quarterbacks take over that often. Especially this year when they are beating teams that like are playoff teams still in it now, destroying the Lions, destroying San Fran, destroying the Cowboys. Like
Right.
stuff that you're just like, what? Like this game was actually supposed to be close. Like this was potentially a Super Bowl preview. No, like the Ravens are like, no, we're just taking over and winning this game. So I agree. Like I guess they're like looking to get out in front, but like even if they're behind, like I'm not really worried. Like you have Lamar Jackson back there. Like he's gonna make stuff work. He's gonna
Right.
make stuff happen. And I just think his biggest downfall was just him being injured. And
Sure.
now this is like the first year that since his MVP year that he's not injured. So
Yeah, and that's why he's going to be the MVP again this year. You get him
yeah,
healthy, he's going to arguably the best player in football.
potentially, absolutely. Yeah, I agree with you. So damn, gonna be a weekend. I can't wait for it.
Ugh, I
But
can't believe
then,
it. I can't believe it's over.
yeah, it's sad, man, because we're 2 weeks away from the Super Bowl now at this point, and you're thinking it's coming to an end. But the NFL, I got to give Goodell credit. Like they make this off season like interesting to watch though as well. With between the
Fair.
draft, free agency, trading picks here and there, like at random times. Like I'll get notifications from Rappaport. I'm like, yeah, let's go. I'm for it. So
I'm going to have to start paying
head
attention to
coaching hires.
basketball.
Yeah, head coaching hires though as well. So Tennessee Titans hired the offensive coordinator for the Bengals as well. But
Bucks are already trying to hire Doc.
oh yes, I did hear about this. Yeah, yeah. It's gonna come first full circle for the Philadelphia 76ers. So
Of course it
but
will.
yeah. Yeah, no, I will say I gotta give the NFL credit because they do make now the off season even interesting. Before, back 15, 20 years ago, it really wasn't. Like everyone was like, yeah, whatever. But now they make it interesting and
Oh,
people are
yeah,
more tuned in. So
without question.
yeah, so we're getting there. We'll be back on next week, folks, to preview the Super Bowl or maybe the Pro Bowl. I don't know. Yeah, whatever.
Definitely, probably not the Pro Bowl. Sorry, Pro Bowl.
So we'll get into that. maybe get into some head coaching hires, what we're thinking, how this will affect their future, and much more, of course. And we'll recap these NFC and AFC championship games. Hopefully, it'll be a good one. Hope you all enjoy it as well. And yeah, enjoy the
Yo,
weekend.
quick shout out, Nick Dunlap. Good job this weekend, man. First amateur in a long time to get a dub
Wow,
in the
we got to bring
PGA
back
Tour.
golf talk. Oh man,
Yo, I
we got
had to give a quick shout out to my guy.
Wow, we might have to bring back golf talk next week because they're at the Farmers this week, so it's kicking off
I
PGA
know we're
Tour
gonna
season.
start talking some golf.
I'm ready. I'm ready to go. So make sure you stay tuned for all that. But we'll be back next week here on the Final Whistle. So, as always, folks, we'll chat with you later. Have a great day. See you.